Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be going over how to set up and flash the EmuFlight test versions of 1.0.0. It's really in beta, so currently we're using the BetaFlight configurator for this, and that's simply because this code is a fork of the latest BetaFlight, and we have not updated our configurator to work with it yet, so we're still currently using the BetaFlight configurator. So first off, what you're going to need to do is get your STM32F whatever target. For me it's the F405. This is version 5.0.4, which is just a test version of 1.0. So I'm going to open that. I'll go ahead and flash it. That'll take a second, like it usually does, and make sure you've got full chip erase selected while you're doing that. Yep. While we're waiting, you're going to want to come over to github.com/betaflight/unified targets. You're going to want to come here, and you're going to go to configs and defaults. You're going to find your flight controller. Mine's the Newbie Drone Infinity. So you're going to take that, copy all of this, and then you're going to go back here, wait for it to finish flashing. It's going to take it a bit. Once it gets about halfway, it finishes. But something that's really nice about this is the STM, we only have to make 4 targets, the F411, the F405, the F722, and the F745. And that covers all the flight controllers that we'll be supporting, which is really nice. There's the Supply Custom Defaults button. I've seen it act kind of funky before. You can give that a go. It might work. I'd just recommend canceling that and then pasting what we had input before. And now you're not going to see it because these defaults turn off the accelerometer. But if I enable that, you're going to see that the drone, it's moving like normal. Now real quick, I'm just going to paste my settings into here. There we go. There's my settings. And then I'll continue to go over some of the changes, what makes this different. I'm only going to cover what makes this different than setting up a BetaFlight 4.2 quad. So if you have questions about that, just refer to any sort of BetaFlight 4.2 guide to get that information. And wow, this is a lot more than I thought it would be. And here we go. Let's save that. Cool. So here in the ports tab, nothing has changed. You're going to set that up just like BetaFlight 4.2. Here in this tab, almost everything is the same except this doesn't quite work. I've removed one-shot 125 and one-shot 42. I might bring it back, but I felt like there was no point in supporting protocols that you should never be using. PWM, we're keeping that because there are reasons that you might want to use servos. So PWM is still there. If this only affects motors, I might remove PWM and just allow PWM for servos. And then there's multi-shot as well, which if you're going to use a non-D-shot protocol, you're going to want to use multi-shot. So with D-shot 150 selected, you've actually selected D-shot 600. To verify that, it's PWM, that's all you have to search, and it will show you. And as you can see, I'm on D-shot 600. I've also added D-shot 1200 up to D-shot 4800. Aside from that, the configuration tab should be identical, and you're always going to get these warnings when you connect, because this configurator isn't meant to work with this version. So just understand that, and don't worry about it. RPM filtering does work, so I've been testing that a bit. The defaults are different than the Betaflight defaults for the RPM filter. Yeah, power and battery, this should be exactly the same. Failsafe should be the same. PID tuning, this page should be the same by default. Dmin is turned off. I'm considering removing dmin. This iTerm relax doesn't do anything. As you can see, if I save this, it disappears. We do have iTerm relax in here. If you search get iTerm, you can see right here iTerm rotation pops up, iTerm relax. So essentially we've removed the various types of iTerm relax because there's really only one type you should choose, so we're forcing you to use that, and we've added a yaw cutoff. And then you can configure the threshold. I don't really see a reason to do so, but we've made that configurable. So really I'd only play with iTerm relax cutoff or iTerm relax yaw cutoff. So that's up to you to go and play around with. But you'll have to do that in the OSD or in the CLI, as this doesn't work anymore. Integrated yaw is gone. Feedback PID compensation is gone as well.
No, she just barely found out that she.
Anti-gravity works. It's been improved, so I'd actually keep that enabled. Yeah. Next place of warning is here in the rate profile settings. If you come here and you select something that, I've removed quick rates, and because of that, this just shows up wrong. My rates totally work, they're totally fine, and this is what I've set up my rates for, but it won't show me. TPA, this is just your TPA D. I have added the EmuFlight TPA, so there's TPA PIND. This just affects your D. This is still your breakpoint like normal. Here in filters, these are just normal Betaflight filters. Here's my setup that I've been using. Something to note is that if you do use the dynamic low-pass filters, you do have access to the dynamic low-pass filter 2. I'll just show that in here. This should bring it up. Yeah. So you have your normal dynamic low-pass filters, so that's just the low-pass filters that move with throttle, as well as the curves that you can apply to them, which do work quite nicely. Then there's this DynLPF2. The DynLPF2 F max, that's the frequency max, and as you can see, I've set that to 300, and the gyro max is set to 300. So this LPF2 max is just how much additional it can increase the filter cutoff, despite throttle. So if your throttle is, setting the low pass filter to 200, the dynamic part that's not throttle based could increase it 300, so you could have 500 total. And then the gain is how strong it comes on. So that's something to play with, is this gain and this max, but they are tied to your dynamic low pass filters. So the max is how much it can add on top of this. So the LPF2, if you set the gain to 0, it'll turn off this, or if you set the max to 0, it'll turn off the LPF2 part of the dynamic low pass filter. But I'd recommend you keep it on. The defaults do seem to work pretty well for that. You may just want to play with the gains a little bit. As you can see, the D-term gains are a lot lower, because obviously D-term needs more filtering. I think there might be something else. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. There's a new filter that I've added. It's the alpha, beta, gamma filter, and you have the alpha value that you can tune. This filters, Basically the Kalman filter that's in EmuFlight, it's a kind of a simplification of a Kalman filter. It's still a Kalman filter, but it makes some assumptions. So certain values we just set to 1 when doing the Kalman filter math. The alpha beta gamma filter is more or less a simplification of the Kalman filter, and this filter we're really using position, velocity, and acceleration to predict the future values. With this filter, the higher you set alpha, the less it will filter. 1,000's the max, 0 turns it off, and yaw has a separate value, just because from my testing, yaw acts different enough that it really warrants its own value, as you might find a good pitch and roll value, and the yaw value will want to be something different. And something kind of nifty, if you turn the alpha filter on, you can also turn on, here it is, estimated D term. Now, estimated D term is a new way of dealing with D term, and it uses the velocity value inside the alpha beta gamma filter to come up with a D term value. Now I can actually show you that here because I've been able to log that. Yeah, so as you can see, here's a log. These are the raw unfiltered D term values. This was just me props off moving a quad around just to get some logs and see if it was working the way it should. So yeah, as you can see, I have to really zoom in before you can see much of a difference, but this debug 2, this more yellow looking line, that's D term calculated normally, and the blue line is the predicted D term from the alpha beta gamma filter. As you can see, that's a fair bit smoother, and if I look at here's what the noise is on the D term unfiltered, and then from the alpha beta gamma filter you can see how much it cleans up a lot of that noise. Just comparing the two again, here we go, here's the alpha beta gamma filter, really cleans it up. And if we just want to look at this low frequency noise, it doesn't change some of that a whole lot, but that'll be something to play with. If you do decide to use that estimated D term, your alpha beta gamma filter values will really play a role in that. So if you set your alpha beta gamma alpha value, you set this to 0 and your yaw to 0, it'll turn off your ability to use estimated D term. I mean, it'll still turn on, but it won't do anything. So that's something to note, is that you need to have alpha enabled in order for this to do anything. Otherwise, you won't be able to try that out. And I think this might be a really cool way to do the D term, because we're really just using a alpha beta gamma, which is really just a simplified Kalman filter to predict the the acceleration, which is the D term, predict the acceleration of the drone, and that gives us the D term. And you can see just looking at this that this blue line is quite a bit smoother than this yellow line. So hopefully that'll pan out to be something kind of cool. Yeah, let's continue. Are there any other hiccups that I need to, that I can think of that you might encounter as you try to test this code out? You can really just leave this all default, all on auto. It works really well. Modes are normal. Yeah, everything here, it should be normal. If you want to log different things, get debug works really well. Right here I added this estimate D debug mode, which if you have estimate D enabled, it'll show you the raw and the estimate D term values. That's what I was logging. yeah, so it's a lot of good stuff in here. You know, give the filters a try. Something that I would recommend is that if you do use the matrix and gyro filter, try and set the Q to like 500 or something. Set the min frequency on the RPM filter to like 100. Maybe try 2 harmonics. 3 really seems like overkill to me. I set the default to 2. I use 1 and it cleans up the noise really well. And then my matrix Q, I set it to 500, and you know, all the motor and frame resonance just gone, and you know, some other filters can clean that up. You know, some EmuFlight stuff that I have ported over. We have the IMUF filter. What else do we have? We have deboost. Where's the D-term boost? Yeah, we have D-term boost. We have emu boost. Come in here. We have our TPA split out to PI and D, as well as the breakpoint. What else is there that I'm not remembering that's an EmuFlight specific thing? Oh, yeah, I've added the angle code. Here we go. Yeah, so all the angle code's been ported over. So if you type get angle, you can see all the angle mode PIDs, the high and low. Yes, the angle mode stuff's been ported over. Ported over some better horizon code. So that's in there. We also have NFE race mode in the code. Something else to note is the TPA. You might notice, but TPA is it's now in the PID profiles instead of the rate profiles. So just something to take note of. Here's something kind of fun that I did. Here in the rate profiles, I switched to, let's just go rate profile 3, save that, go back here, get rate. Oh yeah, rate dynamics are in the code as well. That's something I forgot. Where is it? Yeah. Name quick flash. Can't find it. Yeah, rate profile name. There we go. Each of the rate profiles inside the code have a different default. I wish it would show me the name inside here. It doesn't, but rate profile 1's default, rate profile 2's quick flash. I don't remember what the rest are, but you can see all these. I didn't input all these values, but these are all different values that other users have used. These are open to change, but I figured that, you know, why not just stick a few preset rate profiles when you start out. That might change, it might go back to the way it used to be, but for now that's a fun little cookie. The PID profiles are all the same, so we won't have to worry about that. I think that's really everything. You know, if there's a setting from EmuFlight, you know, like rate dynamics, you know, get center, center sensitivity, that's in here. You know, all the rate dynamic stuff, that's in the OSD as well. Pretty much everything I've added is in the OSD as well. yeah, so really just, give it a try. If you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully this is helpful and helps you understand what's all in the code so far when you are testing it, so you'll have a better idea of what's different, what's the same. And yeah, I hope that helped. Have a good one.